Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you have watched the past few vlogs I have posted, you know that I've been having some pregnancy pain and back issues, and I've been basically just at home the last week trying to recover. So while I'm at home doing nothing, I figured I would answer a few questions. So I did a Q&A story box on my Instagram, and I'm just gonna go through and answer a bunch of the questions I got. So if you're interested in watching this, stay tuned. Okay, first question's very fitting. It says, how's your pregnancy going? So it's going. This is definitely very different than my last pregnancy. My pregnancy with Jagger was relatively easy. At the time, I thought it was hard, but now looking back, I'm like, no, that was actually a really easy pregnancy. Of course, I was sick here and there. I had morning sickness, but nothing too bad. I didn't have any food aversions. If anything, I was like craving cereal a ton with him, and I just wanted to eat all the time. And then I also had I had back pain with him for sure, a lot towards the end, but nothing like I've had this time. But this time, literally since I found out I was pregnant, I feel like it's just been all downhill. I found out I was pregnant, and then like literally a week later, I think, maybe 2 weeks later, I got thrush, which affects like your mouth and downstairs, which is just awful. Sorry, my necklaces are all twisted. So I had sores down there in my mouth. I couldn't even brush my teeth without it hurting. And then my gums got inflamed and were bleeding, and I had to have medications for both areas, and it was miserable. Like, I can't even describe it. Probably the worst pain I've ever felt, just because it was like both areas happening at once. And I was also really sick on top of it with morning sickness. So that was sucky. That cleared up luckily after a couple weeks. And then I've just been really sick. Like, I've been way more nauseous than I was the first time. And then just this last week, I had a lot of sciatic back pain, my sciatica nerve on the right side, and then it kind of went over to the left. So to the point where like the first few days I could barely walk. I can't lift Jagger still. So Jordan came home to help, which has been nice. I've been going to a chiropractor. I have to go twice a week pretty much the rest of my pregnancy to help it ease up and not get bad again. So it's just been a journey, and I have a lot of food aversions this time. So like nothing sounds good. Like the only thing that sounds good is like fresh things like watermelon, fruit, salads, which is awesome. But it's just like, even then it's like, food just doesn't taste the same. Nothing quite hits like the spot. So that's been fun as well. But I am now at 15 weeks, so I'm like turning the corner into the second trimester, and I'm really hoping that after the next couple weeks it takes a turn and I get my energy back and feel better. So fingers crossed. But a girl pregnancy for me is way different than a boy pregnancy so far. Okay, next question is, who inspires you? This is a really good one. I obviously look up to so many people in the industry, but I feel like who really inspires me is not like a specific person, but it's the people I see on Instagram who are just like hustling, who are, maybe new stylists, and they're just trying to get content out there, and they're taking as many clients as they can, and they're trying to build an Instagram presence. Maybe they open a salon and they just kind of go for their dreams. I feel like I started that way, where I was just like a little hairdresser, then I opened a salon, then my extension company, and I've just kind of pursued my dreams, and I know how hard it is. So anyone that I see doing that, or just like putting themselves out there online, honestly, I admire, because it's a hard job, and we do it because we love it and we know it'll help our businesses, but it can be brutal. So anyone that's willing to put their life out there, put their work out there to be criticized, that inspires me so much. Next question is, when you make a new color for your extensions, how long is the process and the options that you have? This is a good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me this. So when we started the company, we opened with 14 colors, and they were basically just like colors that I knew were popular in extension brands, right? Like dark brown, we had medium blondes that were mixed and two-toned, we had bright blondes, just like the stuff that we knew people needed, right? But over time, we've come up with really creative ones, and especially over the last few years, I really wanted to create colors that were like custom and unique to us. So the Desmond, for example, is a really unique color. I haven't seen anyone else with that exact same color. It's a mix of 8, 18, and 8 again, which if you guys are familiar with extensions, you know that they usually go by the number system that way. So I have like a master key ring from my manufacturer that has like every shade under the sun that they are able to do. And I love to play around and mix and match and kind of just see what different combos would arise and, you know, what things would look good together. So that's how the Desmond came about. Same with the Collie and the Graham. So we kind of started with the Jen. The Collie is like a little darker than the Jen, and then the Graham is a little darker than the Collie, and they're all like in the same family. And we all just like to collaborate and see what's missing and get feedback from customers and just create that way. So once we decide on a color combo we want to try, whether it's from that keyring or we just like send photos of like different shades we like or give ideas like, can you just mix this and see how it looks? We can get samples from our manufacturer and either say yes or no, and then they'll put that color into production once we approve the sample. Some colors have gone up to like 5 different samples, some we've nailed on the first try. So it kind of just depends on the color and how unique it is. But it's a really, really fun process, and it's really cool to be able to just kind of like create custom colors. So now we have 29 colors, I think. So we've grown quite a bit since we opened. And if you think there are any colors missing within our line, I would love to know, because we're always looking to make another one, and I would love to have like 30. So I just think that would be a good number to have. Okay, how to start a salon business and be prepared. Well, first of all, I think it's really impossible to ever be prepared for any business that you're opening. You know it's gonna be hard. You know it's gonna be long hours and money and time and stress, but you really never know what your specific situation is going to be and what could go wrong or right for you until you're in it. So just, you know, expect the unexpected. I think that's the only way to really be prepared. But make sure that you, A, have a vision and a goal for what you want your environment to be. So if you're opening a salon, what's the reason behind it? And B, what is the, you know, like the environment that you're wanting, the culture, the look, the vibe. You have to have a really clear understanding of what you're wanting to create and why you're wanting to create it. Just from my experience, I feel like clients and followers and people who are going to support your business really resonate if you are true and authentic to yourself, and they can see that, you know, that you have a passion for what you're building. So that's the first thing, because I feel like when I opened my salon, I knew like I'm a girly girl. So the first salon was like a little dollhouse, and it was pastel colors, and it was just really cutesy, and that was so me. It still is. And it's all obviously evolved from there into more grown up version of that, but that was very much me, and that was authentic to me. So if I would have opened a salon at the time that was like all black, that just would not have been me. So I had to stay true to my vision. And then also I opened the salon for like a fun environment for people to work and create and feel safe and have a break room where they can talk and hang out and laugh and build ideas off of each other. And I feel like I've created that. So those two things were really important to me, and that kind of just like grew the vision. And so that's the first thing. And then the second thing would be to make sure that you know what you're doing financially, business wise, like what permits you need from the city, what licenses you need, all the steps you have to run through, because there's so much that you don't realize until you get into it, whether it's accounting or your books or like if you're doing a build out on your building, what the city requires. There's just so much that goes into it, and I had no idea about any of it, and honestly still am not an expert in any of it, which is why I'm really grateful that I have people on my team who are experts and can help me. So if you don't know those things, either do your research and try to figure it out, or hire people that, you know, can surround you and help you with those things, whether it's someone you're bringing on your team or it's someone you're having freelance for you that will give you advice here and there, whether it's an accountant, a lawyer, a business consultant, something like that. Because a lot of times I've noticed us creative hair types that are hairdressers want to open a salon because it's fun and you want to make it cute and a good environment like I was talking about, but we don't realize it's still a business that needs to be run. And sometimes us creative types are not as good at that. Some are, but we get in over our heads really easily. So because of that, just make sure you have people around you who know that side of things. Okay, the next question says how to film videos yourself. I am a pro at this because from the beginning I've been doing it on my own. I now have like assistants and co-stylists that will help me out, but we still use a lot of things that can just be utilized on their own. I will insert a photo of what my camera currently looks like. This is what I'm filming on right now. It's the Sony vlog camera. I'll link that in the description box below. And then this is the tripod I use, and I love it because it's really lightweight. I can carry it just like this, but then it also has legs that spread out. So right now I have it on my windowsill, still just facing me. So I can set it up anywhere, and it's really portable, so it's great for vlogging, but it's also great for the salon because I can just set it on my station and film myself. But I also have a tripod that's like a full length one that is on the floor, and it's really tall, so that way I can get better angles, and it's, you know, can look down on what I'm doing, and I can raise it and lower it, and that's really helpful as well. So if you're looking for a good camera for the salon, I would recommend the one I use. I have so many cameras. I did a whole video on this. I'll link that too, on like all the cameras and equipment we have, and they're all really great, but I feel like if you're starting out, this vlog camera is perfect. You don't need anything like super high tech or crazy to begin with. But also, iPhones have come a long way, and if you're just starting out and you don't want to buy a camera yet, then an iPhone can do amazing things. So you can also film on that. If you're going to do it for YouTube, I'd recommend shooting sideways like this with your phone, and then if you're going to be doing Reels and TikTok, I would go this way. And then get a little tripod for your phone. You can get those on Amazon as well. I'll link one below that I have, and you can set that on your station, or you can get full-size ones that you can set next to your chair. And just, you know what, it's so hard to like dive into filming because you can get really self-conscious and you're like, are my clients gonna feel weird? But as long as you explain it to them and they give you permission to film what you're doing on them, then just go for it, because you just never know what it could do for your career. Okay, the next question was the best camera for YouTube. So once again, the one I'm using, I'll link below. And then that video where I talk about all my cameras, I will link below as well. All right, next one is hardest part about opening a school. Good hell. Luckily, since I've opened a few businesses before, I knew that it was going to be hard. Like, I didn't go into it just being like, this is going to be all rainbows, but I am really excited about it, even though there's hard parts. I would say the two hardest things are, one, gaining accreditation. If your school is accredited, you can offer financial aid and loans and Pell Grants and things like that from the government, and that's super helpful for a lot of people. So we want to be able to offer that, but the accreditation process is intense and long. We started looking into it probably 4 or 5 months ago, and we're still just in the process of continuing that. We're going to a conference in Vegas in September where we're gonna go to a 3-day event for NACIS, which is the accreditation company we're going through, and they're gonna give us all the details and how to move forward. And I've heard it can take up to a year or two, which is crazy. So we're hoping to do it as fast as we can, but we know that's gonna be a long haul. So that's definitely been one of the hardest parts. And the second part is just making sure I hire the right people and enough people. We know like what our class size is going to be starting out, but you know, hopefully we have that many people sign up. And if we have more people waiting after that first sign up, we're going to have to do another class. So just making sure I have enough educators and teachers that are like really knowledgeable and skilled and are, you know, the type of people I want. I don't want to just hire anyone because they have a license. I really am picky about it. So me and my mom actually are going to be the theory teachers for the first little bit, for the first class. So we'll be with them all throughout their journey, and it's going to be super exciting for that first class. And then I have, I think, 6 other educators right now that are going to be instructors there that are going to rotate on the floor to kind of help out here and there. And I'm hoping just to add more and more to that team as time goes on, because obviously I'm having a baby, so I will have to take time off, and I need people there that, you know, can kind of step in. But I'm excited to build that team, but that's definitely been a stressful thing as well. Okay, favorite hair color you've ever had? I've had every hair color, so it's impossible to choose. I would say something close to what I have right now. I've had a lot of different versions of this, and I always go back and forth from obviously like brunette to blonde to in between, and I feel like I'm most comfortable now being more like dimensional, softer blonde with some like darker pieces and just kind of like more natural, which is so crazy because, you know, like in my 20s, I was just way more comfortable being blonde, and I still love that when I look back at it. But now that I'm getting older, I try it and I'm like, it's just not cute on me anymore. And I don't know if it is because I'm older or trends are changing, but I still love blonde, obviously, but I feel like this is my comfort zone. I feel like it looks better with my skin tone. It's just more complimentary, and it's the best of both worlds because I get dark and blonde in here, which is fun. But also I really love when I do pink. I'll probably do that again at some point. Pink hair is so fun, and it's also like temporary, which is cool. And then the redhead phase I had for a week, literally a week, I actually really loved, but it just was not me, and it faded out really coppery after like one wash. So I was like, but I love lived in strawberry. I may try that again at some point because I really did love it. Were you ever specifically taught how to lighten natural red hair. I've had 3 stylists not know how. They've asked other stylists while I'm in the chair, can you bleach red hair? This one's interesting because naturally red hair is pretty rare. I would say that it's not often you see a natural redhead that's actually kept it. My assistant, actually, Brooklyn, she just actually left for a mission. So she's not my assistant anymore, but she'll be back in October. I'm gonna put a photo of her right here. She has natural red hair and it is beautiful. And I say if you have that color, stick with it, because you can never just mimic that with hair color. It's impossible. Like if you have that, just rock it. But she has put like money pieces in and slight highlights and just subtle little things, and it's fine to do that. I would say that lifting naturally red hair, red is very similar to blonde, where like the melanin lives and the pigment of that color and the undertones, so it's gonna lift fine. I would say lifting like artificially colored red hair is going to be hard, because that's going to go pink and peach and all sorts of colors, so that would be harder. But lifting natural redhead, it shouldn't give you any issues. I've done it before and it's beautiful. This one says, the biggest life lesson you have learned. I could go off about this because I feel like I've learned a lot of things, especially now that I'm 30. I feel like I look back at my 20s and just been like, well, that was a big shit show and learning experience. But I feel like every situation I've been in has happened for a reason and has taught me something. And the biggest piece of advice that I have taken from every situation in my life that has gone wrong over the last 30 years, I feel like I've always come back to this same like lesson, and it's something I need to remember, because I'm either really good at beating myself up and blaming myself and just feeling really badly about myself, or I'm really good at being the victim and saying it's all the other person. And so it's really hard, because in different situations you're gonna do one or the other, and it's so hard to be like, well, just because I made a mistake here doesn't mean I'm a bad person, but also just because someone else screwed me over doesn't mean I want to like lose all my trust and become bitter, right? So it's really hard to like keep yourself and your self-worth and your confidence intact when like things like that are happening. But the biggest piece of advice that I have learned throughout all that, sorry, that was a long way of getting there, was you are going to be the hero in some stories and the villain in others, and none of it will have anything to do with you. And that is so true. In some stories, I'm the hero, some I'm the villain. And I feel like that's probably the case for all of us. We all make mistakes and we all do good things, and we're all just kind of like a mix of figuring life out and learning. And I feel like as long as we're owning up to our mistakes while also learning from them and progressing, that's the best we can do. So I do feel like that is something I would recommend to anyone going through a hard time, or just, you know, trying to get a grasp on life and lessons you can kind of take into consideration. Because I feel like with every person I've met, and myself included, that is so true. We've all been the bad person in some stories, we've all been the good in some stories, and it doesn't mean we're just bad and just good. It sometimes means we're a work in progress, and that's okay. Okay, tips for a hairstylist with anxiety. This one's hard, and I am so sorry, because I struggle with anxiety too, and I know how hard it can be. Specifically, social anxiety within our industry can be brutal, because our jobs are very social, and we have to be on, and we have to give our clients all the energy, and we're consuming so many different conversations throughout the day, and different energies we're taking on, and we're kind of like a therapist in some situations, and we're also being physically drained because we're on our feet all day. So going home, it can just be like mentally and physically draining, and that can be really hard. So I would say if you are interested or open to medication, that's helped me. I know that that is not for everyone, but I have been on an anxiety medication the last 10 years, and when I have gone off, I've noticed a difference. So I would say that that for me helps a ton. So if it's something you'd want to look into, I'd recommend it. But if not, another thing I've been doing with pregnancy, because they lowered my dosage, is just a lot of meditation and therapy and self-reflecting, and just doing things that help my body physically and my mind mentally, like recenter after I've had a lot of like stimulation, whether it's talking to clients or doing classes and being around a lot of craziness and people. You need to take time to kind of like refocus and recenter yourself. So finding activities that are just so fun to you, whether that's reading or rock climbing or going to the gym or going on a walk, whatever it may be, find a hobby or something that relaxes you, that you enjoy, and just find your center again. That's something that has helped me a ton. Okay, the next one says, did you find out if the baby number 2 for sure is a boy? Can you confirm the gender of your baby? So I have a couple vlogs on this. If you guys have seen it, you can scroll down and see our first gender reveal and then our second video where we found out it was wrong. But yeah, basically I took the at-home sneak peek gender test at, I think it was 6 weeks, so it was really early, but they say you can do it at that point. And the first one came back inconclusive, which was like, okay, it was probably too early. Then the second one I did came back as a boy. So we were like, cool, it's a boy. We did a whole gender reveal. Didn't think anything of it. I did feel like me and Jordan both said, like when we saw that it was a boy, because we did like a golf club swing, we were both like, are you sure? Like it just didn't feel right. Like we both just kind of felt like it was a girl, but obviously you never know. So I was just like, it just doesn't feel like a boy because my pregnancy's been different, but whatever. And then at 10 weeks, I went to the doctor and got the Panorama blood test, which is the whole genetic test. It's the same thing I did with Jagger to confirm his gender. And it also tests for Down syndrome and just making sure everything looks good with the chromosomes and the health of your baby. So I love doing that just because it gives you peace of mind and you can make sure everything's on track. And then it also tells you the gender. And this one is way more accurate because it's obviously done at a lab with the doctors. It's 99.9% effective. They told me it's never usually wrong, so hopefully that is the case. But with the sneak peek one, you're doing it at home by yourself, and all over the packaging of Sneak Peek, it will tell you like no male DNA. Make sure you're like cleansing your surfaces and no male DNA, because if any male DNA gets in your blood sample, it will just come back a boy. And so because of that, I have a son and a husband and 2 boy dogs. It even says if you have boy pets, they can't be around. And I did it at the salon, so I was like, I'll be safe. I was with Jordan right before, and I probably just have Jagger and my dogs all over me. So I think that's what happened, because when I did the genetic testing from the doctor, well, the funny thing is, in between the doctor, I went to a place called Kicks and Giggles that did the sneak peek just from like their place. And I did that just to see at like 8 weeks, and that one came back inconclusive too. So I was like, what the heck? So then when the doctor one came back, they called me and they're like, it's a little girl. And I was like, what? Like I had a feeling, like I kept being like, I feel like it's a girl, but by that point I had just kind of accepted it because I wanted a girl since I already have a boy and I just wanted a girl. So I had accepted it because I didn't want to get my hopes up. I was like, it's a boy. So when they were like, should we tell you the gender? I was like, yeah, I already know. And I was shocked. So you should go watch that vlog because it's pretty funny, because I was just like, we were in the middle of a movie when I found out, and it was just crazy. So yes, it is a girl. We will do an ultrasound at 20 weeks. So that's in 5 weeks to confirm that again, but they did say that the genetic testing is usually never wrong. So I really hope it's a girl because I've bought a lot of girl things so far. What made you go into hair and grow into merchandise? This is a great question. So my mom did hair growing up. So my whole life I've grown up around it because she was a hairdresser before I was even born. So we always had a home salon in our house growing up, and me and my sisters would like sneak in there and do each other's hair, and we just thought it was so fun. So she was always taking clients at home. So I just got to be around it a ton. So I feel like it was always kind of like naturally assumed that I would do hair because I was the girliest of all us sisters, and I loved getting dressed up and doing makeup and hair and clothes and all that. So I kind of just felt like I was going to, and my mom, taught me things really young. So I was around it a lot. I kind of understood it. But then after high school, I kind of had like an identity crisis, and I was like, I don't want to just do hair because my mom does hair. So I took a year off from after high school, and I worked at a tennis club, and I started looking into, I did my CNA, and I started looking into like the medical field and like a few other things, but I just never felt right, and I ended up going to hair school. So that was just always my natural path, I guess. And I went and I loved it, and then we opened the salon, and then we just kind of naturally grew into what we have now with merchandising. I opened my extension company, and then it kind of just like went from there. We needed a good oil for the extensions and a good brush, and that just kind of spiraled into everything we have now. Okay, baby names you love but won't use. This is a good one. So we do have a name. I'm not going to say it yet, but we have it all settled, and I'm really excited. I feel like it's perfect for her, and it is a J name because we have Jessie Jordan Jagger. So it's funny. So we have Peyton, who is Jordan's daughter from his first marriage, and she keeps being like, can we do a P name because it's a girl? And I'm like, oh, that's so cute that she like wants it to be P. So we kind of considered that for a minute, but we're like, it just has to be J. So we are going to do a first name that starts with J and a middle name that starts with a P. So we have that all planned, and I'm super excited. But that kind of limited our options because since we had to do a J first name, or not had to, but wanted to, that didn't, like all these other cute girl names I've loved over the years just wouldn't wouldn't work anymore. One that I love is Maxwell. I love Lennon. I think that's so cute. Those I think were my top two. Even when I was pregnant with Jagger, I wanted to name a girl one of those. So I think those two have always just been my favorite. Maybe I'll do a whole video on like baby stuff and like names I love but don't use. I haven't really thought about it much, but I'm excited for the name we do have. Okay, what time will classes be each day for your school? So the schedule is going to have two different options. Full-time is Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30 with an hour lunch break. And then part-time is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 5 with an hour lunch break. So you'll have those two options to choose between. And it's gonna be from 9 to 12 in the morning is gonna be, 9 in the morning to 12 p.m. is going to be theory. So classroom work, learning, things like that. 12 to 1 is lunch, and then 1 to 4:30 or 1 to 5 if you're part-time will be worksheets, floor work, mannequins, and stuff like that. What is attendance like? So we do have an attendance policy. We have a whole handbook written up for our school, and it's in there. And basically you have to like stay at a certain percentage of attendance and grades to be able to still attend the school and not get, write-ups and get eliminated or expelled or whatever that means. But basically we're gonna have those rules, and it's all in the handbook. There's a lot of details, so I'm not exactly sure how to say it all right now, but we have like a certain percentage you have to like uphold by. Okay, the last question says, what's something you wish you were taught when you were in school and that you are now teaching at JZ Academy? This is a really, really good one because it's why I opened a hair school. I loved my hair school. I ended up going to Aveda first, didn't love that. Then I switched to the Forum in American Fork, loved that one. But overall, something I feel like I've seen come out of hair schools, and over the years of educating, just independently, I've heard from so many people. It's like a general consensus that hair school sucks, no one enjoys it, everyone hates it, you don't learn anything, and you really learn in the real world. And that's why I did the beauty school series. That's why I've always been really into educating students and things like that, because I can't even tell you how many people have told me, I just learned off of your videos in hair school. That's all I learned from. So I'm like, why don't I just do that then? That's just kind of what got me excited about that. So I think the biggest thing is just real life techniques that you're going to use. Like new techniques come out like balayage and root shadowing and even extensions, and schools don't touch on them as much. They tend to focus a lot more on sanitation and state board and all of those things that are important, but I feel like a lot of stylists feel like that's all they learn, and they don't learn how to actually be a confident, independent stylist. So as far as like real life techniques, working with clients, finances and taxes for your business, that's going to be a huge focus, because I feel like a lot of schools don't touch on that either. Extensions are going to be a huge focus, obviously, in our school, whereas most schools just kind of touch on them or do a one-day course you have to pay extra for. And I hear a lot of students in school say they're not even allowed to work with extensions. So I really want our school to be a place that you're going to graduate feeling so confident in color and extensions and how to run your business and things like that. So definitely all of that, but also growing a good culture of stylists, because I feel like our industry can be a little catty. It's gotten better, but with social media, it's gotten a little worse at times. And I feel like stylists can be really competitive and really catty and just really like, I'm better than you. Like, it's something I've seen a lot, and it's really sad, and just gossipy too. And like, if someone's doing something that you're doing that competes with you, you're just mean to them, or you put them down, or you gossip, or you talk about them on social media, and I hate that. So I really want to create a school environment where I am breeding stylists that are going to be a new generation of stylists who don't act that way and who can be professionals, because it's like sometimes we forget we're in a professional industry because we do hair and it's fun. We still need to be professionals. So I want to raise stylists to be that way, and I also do not want to tolerate any cattiness within the hair school, because that's where it starts usually, and I want to nip that in the bud. So that's going to be a huge focus, is just uplifting each other and like collaborating with other stylists instead of competing. So I'm really hoping that that will be the case. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A, and I'll catch you next time.